If there's something that you're suffering through or what have you, it's like change your thinking and you can change your experience. And most of us approach life from wanting the external environment to change first, and then we'll feel better. When more inventory comes on the market, all right, now things will ease up. Now I can go out there and get a property. Versus like the example I told you guys a second ago of like, I saw the environment. How can I take personal responsibility here? And how can I do things differently? And show the universe that like I'm here to show up. Let's find a property. I'm open and willing to receive a property and let's make this happen.
Welcome back, everybody, to Invested and Rested. This week, I am so excited to have Emily King on. She is absolutely fantastic in the money mindset space, and she is actually a coach and invests in real estate.
Yeah, she actually used to be my coach, my business coach for health coaching, and I've just had a lot of fun and great experience working with her. So I wanted her to come on because she's taught me so much about mindset and how important it is and how it can help you in not only business, not only real estate, but also in your life. And today she shares some amazing practical ways to change your mindset and give some examples of the mindset shifts that she's been making for her real estate investments. So definitely take a listen. This is for everyone. Even if you think you don't need mindset work, you need mindset work. So listen in. I'd love for you, Emily, to share a little bit about yourself and your real estate journey.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. And I just love talking real estate. So I'm so excited for this.
Yay.
So I've been running my own coaching business since 2015. And Caitlin, yes, that's how we met originally. So I've been helping women entrepreneurs grow their income and their impact doing what they love for the last 10 years, which is wild to me now. I feel like a dinosaur in this industry. And I also got started actually in real estate investing. Before that, I was working a 9-to-5 with my dad's company. He had been running his company for 40 plus years. He just recently sold it in heating and ventilation, commercial construction stuff.
Cool.
I totally like randomly got into it. I was like graduated from my MBA, unemployed, lost, didn't know what I was doing with my life. My dad was like, "Hey, this guy just quit at work. Do you want to come work with us?" And I was like, "I have no idea what I'm like." The guy who had quit was an engineer.
And you like majored in music or something, right?
Yeah, I also have my master's or my undergrad in music.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Very
like this
different.
music business background, going into an engineer position in construction, having zero background in it. And my dad was like, "It's fine, you'll figure it out on the job." Anyways, long story short, I ended up loving that job. I found it so fun to deal with different contracts and contractors and negotiating and estimating projects and all that kind of stuff. And through it all, I ended up meeting this contractor. His name was Bob, and that's not a fictional name, like Bob the Builder. And it was so interesting how my journey got started because I was like fresh out of university in student debt, kind of saving up my money, living at home with my parents in my mid 20s, or I guess early 20s. Kind of hanging my head low of like, oh God, like I really need to get out of their house. And so I was on the market, like had approved a mortgage or got approved by the bank for a mortgage, was looking for a house and was just like, like nothing's resonating with me. And I was talking to Bob one day on the phone at work, and he was gone on like a side story of like, "Oh, Emily, like I just bought this land out in CBS, which is a spot close to where I live." And he's like, "And we built this house and we just sold it and we made, I forget now, it was like $60,000 or $70,000 and we're buying our next property and blah, blah, blah." And I was like, that sounds so cool. So that was like
Bob.
the seed that got planted. Right now, like Bob, like I don't think, actually, still to this day, he doesn't know that he influenced my journey. I should probably tell him in a few days. So that planted the seed of like, wait a minute, people are buying land, flipping houses, and like making a lot of money off of this. So lo and behold, I'm sitting down one day talking with some family members of mine, and I'm telling them this story about like, hey, this guy Bob, he's doing this and blah blah blah. And this one particular family member was like, I'll lend you the money to buy a piece of land if you want. And I was just like,
What?
So cool.
like, I know. So land at the time, and it's still roughly around the same price now, was about like 100 grand for where I wanted to purchase a piece of land. I was like, okay. So I ended up buying a piece of land in Canada, it's called Kijiji, but it's like your guys' equivalent of Craigslist type
Okay.
thing. So I bought this piece of land privately on this street that was getting developed, but it was an awesome piece of land because it was the only piece of land that still had all its trees. All the other lots had just been like demolished and completely bare and like exposed to all the elements. Whereas this one was like an acre of land, all the trees. And I had no idea what I was doing, but I just like was the classic putting one foot in front of the other of like figuring it out as you go.
Mhm.
And I mean, long story short, I built that house within a year and then lived there for a year, knowing like that was my plan. I wanted to live there for a year so I wouldn't get
Mhm.
taxed on it. And then sold it privately within 1 week. And my intention was to make $100,000 off that investment. And I pretty much to the dollar made $100,000 on my first real estate investment.
Oh my gosh, that's so
Fantastic.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I was like, like I was hooked. I was addicted. And so that was the beginning of it all.
Are you interested in real estate investing, but not quite sure where to start? Or maybe you already own some properties, but not sure what to do next? Or are you considering changing your investing strategy from long-term to short-term or single family to multifamily? Well, let us help.
From now until June 30th, we're running a promotion for one-off coaching sessions. Get personal attention to help make those investing dreams a reality with either Caitlin or Rihanna as your coaches. Grab a single session for $100 or one session with each of us for just $150. Go to investedandrested.com for more information. Again, that's investedandrested.com.
Where has it led you today? What are you up to now?
So I've played with a few things. Fortunately, my parents have some investment properties too, so I get to kind of like experiment with their stuff without the risk.
Great.
One of them in particular, so I'll share with you in a second their Airbnb, but personally, how my journey has gone is we then went on to take that chunk of money that we had, buy the house that we're currently in, and it was in like a prime neighborhood, but the house hadn't been touched in like 60 years. So we used that to completely renovate this house. Now this house has great equity in it. But we're not like, we're going to stay here indefinitely.
Yeah.
But we've gone on to purchase 2 additional, you guys call them duplexes your way, but here we call them 2 apartments.
Okay.
In Canada. Yeah. So we have 2 duplexes that are doing so well for us. One of them we bought right when COVID was starting. So we got a steal on it and incredible interest rate.
Nice.
The other one we bought a year and a half ago. And I don't know about your guys' market, but like it is wild the prices that rentals are going for and how quickly they go. Like if you put it up on Marketplace, you have like 100 inquiries in like a minute. So they're really profitable income properties for us. But I've helped on the side, my parents, they have 2 commercial properties. And they also just bought an Airbnb last year. And why I say I'm glad they took the risk was because they bought a beautiful house, great like neighborhood, very appealing and all that kind of stuff. But, and I don't know if this is just this particular location or if this is the way it is, but it's kind of like I had this false belief of like, if you just have this amazing property, people are magically going to book it up like instantly and it's going to fill up in your first season.
Well, that's what Instagram and the internet tells us. So that's what it should be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So they bought this property and luckily they weren't in like, a strapped financial position where they, couldn't afford to pay the mortgage or anything like that. But they bought the property and then, put it up on Airbnb and, we had some bookings, but it was certainly not what we had hoped. And it's just kind of like coming back to that, okay, success is not an overnight thing and just be patient and keep posting and keep sharing and, make the connections and let people know you have a property. And now, fortunately, this summer, so a year later, it's pretty much booked up the whole summer. Like there's
Oh,
a
great.
few nights here and there that are vacant, but yeah, we've had a lot of success with it now this summer. Um, and then it's a different ball game in terms of like, I don't know what it's like your guys' way, but insurance is starting to crack down where it's a lot higher for insurance.
Yeah.
For some weird reason, the insurance company, like the home can accommodate 10 people, but the insurance company said we'll only insure you for a maximum of 8 people staying there at any given time.
Interesting.
So just these kind of like weird little loops. And then the government also said you can't use your mortgage interest as an expense now on your Airbnb because I guess they want more like long-term rentals. So there's like all these kind of things being thrown at them to make it a little bit more difficult. So it's just an interesting field, but it is something that I'd like to personally get into very soon, is to have my own Airbnb, even though it feels like a bit of a minefield right now.
Do you have the same tax benefits as we do for if you own and operate a short-term rental? Then you have a lot of tax benefits.
I don't know. I just give my accountant all the things that she asks for. I think you guys have better ones. From what I understand is the US has better tax benefits than we do in Canada for rental properties and short term and long term and all that kind of stuff.
That's really cool. You made $100,000 right off the bat. Like,
right? Yeah. I like, that's not normal.
That's not normal, but
I think the getting hooked part. The getting hooked part afterwards is normal. Of like, oh my gosh, even if it's like $10. Okay, maybe not. But if it's whatever the amount is, it's like, wow, I just did that and I work for somebody else from 9 to 5. What if I just kept doing this on the side? Where can I go from here instead of working until I'm 65?
Yeah. And that was tax-free money. Like, I don't know what it's like in the US for that, but once again, the government has gotten a little bit more like cracked down on it. Like I noticed even when I was doing my taxes for this past year, it said like, have you sold your primary residence, within the last year? And if so, like they wanted like the details behind it, I guess, because they're, I don't know, getting more curious of it, of like, are people having primary residences for like 4 or 5 months and then selling and then moving on to another one. So
yeah,
it's all very interesting how the government wants their.
Totally. I think ours is.
They need their
2 years, and yeah,
really,
it's 2 out of the last 5, and then there's a cap too. So it's, I can't remember what it is. Maybe if you're single, it's like up to $250,000 gain, and maybe if you're a couple, up to 500.
Yeah, I think that's right. Ooh. Wow. But anyways, well, something that you said about the intention behind the $100,000 is very resonant with what you do now as a money mindset coach. So can you tell us a little bit about your other job as a money mindset coach and how real estate and those two kind of intersect, and what also a little bit like what you do money mindset wise to get ready for a rental property, to buy your next property?
Yeah. So great question. So like how I got into what I'm doing is because I got fed up and tired of seeing women out there playing small, which I know sounds a bit cliche, but it was true. Like you would see these awesome, talented, smart women pretending that they weren't enough, or not sharing their gifts or their expertise with the world for whatever reason. And I was like, this is BS. I'm putting an end to this.
Yeah.
And so in 2016, I switched my business name to The Rich Woman. And that's what we started calling our community, was Rich Women. And we even made sweaters and stuff that said Rich Woman on it. And some people were like, oh, it's kind of awkward, like uncomfortable to wear it out in public. And it's like, yeah, but it was like this claiming of like, I get to live my best life unapologetically, and charge what I desire, if it's like, product or service that somebody has, and go after these audacious dreams that people say are too much, or you don't have enough experience, or blah, blah, blah. And just do it. So it's all about empowerment and going after those wild things and going, how is this possible? So how it relates to real estate was, or is, that first property, I could have told myself like, Emily, you have no experience building a house whatsoever. Like I was the foreman on the project. I brought together all the trades and figured out all the budgeting and figured out the bank stuff and all the, like, I figured it out as I went. And if I had the disempowering mindset, I would have just like thrown my hands up in the air and been like, this is too much. Cause like stuff happened. Like, one time I went to the house and my bad, we had poured the floor for the garage too early in the spring and the ground wasn't thawed enough. So when I went back a few weeks later, the entire garage floor had collapsed in. So,
Surprise.
So that was a lot of fun where we had to like get out like massive pieces of concrete out of the garage, put them somewhere, and then redo it all over again. So you bet I had moments of like, oh my God, what am I doing? Here goes all my profit. Like, you know? And in recent years, how it's come up was like just actually with our last property, the market was wild here, like, or it still is wild. We're like, 2-apartment duplex goes up on the market and it's gone in like 2 seconds, way over price or like, you know, over asking price. And it just felt like the Wild West that you're going into to try to get a 2-apartment. So I caught myself being in this limiting mindset of like, there's other people out there way better at this than me. Who am I to do this? Like all the good properties are going to go because, you know, the real estate agents and like the people who are like in this are going to be the first ones to get on it and blah, blah, blah. And I had this story going on of like, I was just going to get like the last scrap of stuff on the market that was like crap that no one wanted. And when I caught those beliefs, I was like, wait a minute, like this is not serving me at all to get my next investment property. So I am a very solution oriented person of like, all right, how can we get creative here? So 2 years ago, there's this like really random, small, hilarious, like marketplace site. It's called Newfoundland Classified. So the province I live in is called Newfoundland. So it's Newfoundland Classifieds, which is like an itty bitty version of like Facebook Marketplace just for Newfoundlanders.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put a posting on there saying like wanted, 2-apartment home, East End, St. John's. Like here's my budget. Anyways, lo and behold, a few weeks later, this guy reaches out to me. He ends up having played soccer with my husband years ago.
Awesome.
Right? Had like the ideal property. He had renovated in recent years, like new floors, new roof, new windows, siding. I was like, perfect. The price was like spot on. And so we bought it through a private sale. And it was like, see, like I too get to have my piece of that pie. And it's not all like for the big wigs in this industry. So mindset is everything. And that's, as you know, Caitlin, like first and foremost, what I work on with my clients is like, what are we believing about this situation? And how can we change those beliefs around so that you are in a position to be much more resourceful and creative and solution oriented so that you can get what you desire?
Yeah, totally. Do you have any like actionable ways to get in the right mindset that you personally do that you could share with everybody?
Yeah. So I'm really hooked on I don't know if you've ever heard of Byron Katie, her work. Okay, yeah. So I just read her book recently. So that's kind of like fresh in my mind of how I've been changing limiting beliefs around lately. So her kind of process is to basically ask yourself, so if there is a limiting belief of all the good properties are gone, right? That was one of my beliefs.
Yeah.
Is to just be aware of it first and foremost of like, okay, this belief feels like crap. Let's like tune in for, you know, whoever's listening of like, what beliefs are not serving me? What drag my energy down? What feel crappy? Start there. That's your first starting point. The next point is to straight up ask yourself, is this true? Is it ultimately true? Like you would bet $1 million on it, saying to someone, this is the ultimate truth of every single property on the market is gone. Like there's no good properties left. Like, no, that's not true.
Yeah.
And if someone's really stuck on like, well, yes, it's true, kind of like stubborn child, play with like, well, what, like just get curious of if it weren't true, then what? Right? So third step is then how does it feel? How do I act? How do I show up when I believe that thought to be true? Right? So if I believe the thought of all the good properties are gone, I'm probably not even looking on the realtor.ca website for properties.
Yeah.
Even if I am, I'm in the mindset of like, well, this one's too expensive, or this one's crappy. It needs $100,000 of work. And this one's blah, blah, blah. And I'm getting into the story of, see, told you so kind of thing.
Yeah.
So my actions are not aligning with the end result that I desire. So I check in with, who am I? How do I feel? How do I show up when I'm believing this thought? And then the last one, which is like so freeing, is who would I be without this thought? So if the thought didn't even like exist in the world of all the good properties are gone, that didn't even exist. If I'm on a real estate website looking up properties, how is that different? How does that feel different in my body? How do I respond differently? And it's just like, okay, cool. This property's there. Maybe I'll call my real estate agent to go look at that one, and completely changes your response to what's happening. So, Byron Katie is all about our suffering is a result of our own thinking. And so if there's something that you're suffering through or what have you, it's like, change your thinking and you can change your experience. And most of us approach life from, wanting the external environment to change first, and then we'll feel better. Like when more inventory comes on the market, all right, now things will ease up. Now I can go out there and get a property.
Yeah.
Versus like the example I told you guys a second ago of like, I saw the environment. It was like, okay, this is kind of grim, but how can I take personal responsibility here? And how can I do things differently? And show the universe that like, I'm here to show up. Like, let's find a property. I'm open and willing to receive a property, and let's make this happen. I like to think of like what you get in life is a collaboration with the universe. And like, it's kind of like a 50-50 equation, and it ebbs and flows. Sometimes the universe shows up more than us, and vice versa. But it was like, I at least had to be willing to do my part and trust and have faith that there was going to be a property that came along.
We are in the midst of our Real Estate Investing 101 series, where you're learning all the steps to get started in real estate investing. But sometimes the more you know, the more questions you have. So on July 17th, you're going to want to hop on our group coaching call. It's totally free. You come on, ask your specific questions, and also get to learn from others and their questions. And you're also going to understand the benefit of coaching and how helpful it can be along your real estate journey.
Yeah, so head over to investedandrested.com to sign up today so that everybody can get something out of this. Our spots are limited, so make sure you secure your space today. Thanks, friends.
I've been following you a long time and doing your different challenges and whatnot. And I just remember one of your money mindset challenges. I think it was like before I'd even started working with you, and like setting an intention. I said like, in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to make $3,000 or something like that. And I was going to be on vacation one of those weeks. And I was like, how is this even possible? Like, but whatever, I'll just throw it out there.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I think I got one new client, and then we got a insurance check back in, like a reimbursement check for $2,500. So I made exactly $3,000 in those 2 weeks of our money mindset challenge. And ever since then, I've just found the power of setting those intentions. Like you saying, I want to make $100,000 on this property, like having that in your mind, it does put it out there, and it does help bring it in.
Yeah, because there is a physical, biological part of it too, where we have in our brain what's called the reticular activating system, where it's, if I said to you guys right now, okay, look around the room and find everything that's blue, like I'm noticing everything that's blue in my room right now. And then if I come back to the screen and say, okay, what did I just see that was yellow? My brain's like, I don't know what was yellow. You said to look for blue.
Yeah.
Right. So the brain can only process so much information at any given moment. And we're literally like bombarded with millions of bits of information in any given second. And so we are the director, so to speak, of our lives. And we're telling our brains, okay, I know you got a lot on your plate, but look for this. Yeah. So in your case, Caitlin was like, I know we're going on vacation, you're going in holiday mode, and look for opportunities to make $3,000, right? So your brain's like, sure, all right, we'll do that.
Yeah, we'll try it out.
Yeah, like I like to say, the brain's like an obedient servant. It'll do what you tell it.
Yeah.
Right? And so, I mean, yeah, sometimes life happens and, there's some things that we can't control, but we give a lot of our power away unnecessarily in thinking that we're just kind of sitting back and letting life happen to us when it's like, no, I'm going to get in the driver's seat and I'm going to start to tell life what we're going to
Mhm.
create here.
Yeah. And it works the opposite way too, I feel like. Recently, I was telling Rihanna last week, like, I found a property, I put a offer in, and I was like, holy crap, like, this is a lot. Like, I have a lot going on right now. I feel really overwhelmed now that I might also be going into contract on a property. And sure enough, the next day I found out that it was permitted for 2 units, even though it was selling for 4 units. or
Oh.
and so I was just like, I don't want to deal with permitting from far. I'm an out of state investor. I was like, I can't deal with that. So, and then rescinded the offer. But I feel like it works in the opposite way too. And you're just like, oh my God, I can't actually deal with that right now.
Yeah. The universe is like, all right, well, let's like cut that off.
Yeah, let's cut that off for you. Like it's not gonna be working for you. But that also can happen when the fear comes in and you're thinking the worst, and the universe might give you that too.
Well, it's funny. Quick little story. I joke that our first rental property we bought because I felt bad. So the story behind that is I had looked at a 2 apartment property. I think it was like the summer of 2019, and it was priced too high. I had put in a lowball offer. They declined. And I was like, fine, what? I'm over it. Like, it's priced too high. I'm not
Mhm.
paying that. October of that year, they lowered the price. Still was priced too high. February of 2020, they had lowered it again. So I was in Maui at the time. My realtor texted me and was like, hey, that property you looked at, they've lowered the price again. Did you want to make an offer? And I was like, yes, because now it was within like $15,000 of my original offer. So we were getting ready to make an offer, and this was my first ever rental property investment. And I got like scared, and my husband was like, he's like, that's a sin. Like, your realtor is like showing you so many properties. He's done so much work. Like, you should really like, because I like literally had the document there, like ready to sign. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. What if it's like the worst investment
Mhm.
ever? Blah, blah, blah. And so if it weren't for my husband basically saying like, you should feel bad if you don't sign off on this deal, I would have like backed out. So I was like, fine. So I signed the papers. We got the property, and I'm so happy that we did because oh my God, it's been like a gold mine of a property for us. So much equity, prime like location. It's been the best investment ever. So yeah, I bought a property once because I felt bad for my realtor.
And it worked
Yeah.
out.
Worked out. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so my next question, I got an email from you a few weeks ago that I opened immediately. I mean, I open all your emails, but this one I definitely opened, and it was saying that you are financially free.
Congratulations.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
Thank you. So yeah, because of the investments we've made in real estate properties, and then like we did something, was it last year? Yeah, I think it was last year where that property we bought in 2020, because we had renovated it, it had a huge chunk of equity in it. So we pulled out the equity last year and it paid off like both of our cars, paid off any debts. And the property is still making money for us.
Awesome.
So we've like minimized our expenses so much, and like it's kind of like snowballed because we had so much money from the first property. Like we put a huge down payment on the house we're in now, so our mortgage is really minimal. So yeah, I don't have to work if I don't want to, and we will have all our bills paid. And it's not like we're like eating Kraft dinner every night for dinner. It's like we still get to travel. Now, fortunately, I won't to give the full truth. My husband, fortunately, he gets he's a partner at a law firm, and they get travel points from any transaction.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
So he gets a ton of travel points. So our travel ends up being essentially like free because he gets all these points through work. So I have that perk. But yeah, with our real estate investments and then taking that money and investing it in stocks and that kind of stuff, I don't need to work if I don't want to, which yeah, in that email, it only like, I was talking to my friend a few months ago and I was like, wait a minute, like I'm financially free. Like I did it.
Amazing. Have there been any changes that you've made to your day-to-day life since you've become financially free?
Good question, because for the longest time I used to do this meditation where essentially like I walked myself through different stages of life. Like I took myself through this stage where it's like, okay, imagine you have all the money in the world, you get to do whatever you like. What are you doing in your life? And then the next stage is like, okay, you find out you have 5 years left of your life. Like, what are you doing with your life? And so on and so forth. So it dawned on me the other day. I was like, wait a minute, that like meditation I've done many, many times. I'm in that first stage where I have all the money. I mean, I'm not flying private jets. Like I could have more money if I wanted, but like I'm very, very happy with where we are financially.
Yeah.
Um, but the cool thing is I'm really in that space now of like, what do I want to do for fun? Um, and my journal that I use, the cover on it says, the more fun I have, the more money I make. So I have this detachment from outcome now, that I practiced before because I know that having an attachment to an outcome can, be paralyzing sometimes when you're like, oh, this has to work and blah, blah, blah. But I just have this ease now about my work because I still want to work. And that's the cool thing is I was saying to my friend the other day, I said, I have the financial freedom I've been desiring and I have the time freedom because I was like, technically speaking, I could do whatever the hell I want today. Like I can go to a restaurant for lunch. I went for a hike this morning. Like I could do whatever the hell I want. I said, I have those top two things that most people say they want. I said, but at the end of the day, like I wouldn't be happy with that. Not that I'm not grateful for the life I have, but my happiness comes from being a creative outlet for what feels fun to me. And if I'm not creating or giving or feeling like I'm in flow in some way, shape, or form, I feel kind of like stale and like I'm just kind of like in a Groundhog Day, like doing same thing every day kind of thing. So that was a big awareness for me just recently of like, right. It like I always knew I loved my work, but I didn't realize how important it was to me to love my work, and be creating and be in the output place with my work. So yeah, really enjoying just showing up and doing what I love without attachment to how much money it makes or how many clients I get or any of that kind of fun stuff.
So cool. And I would definitely want to steal the phrase that you said that's on your journal. The more fun I have, the more money I make.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to be taking that. So what do you like to do for fun?
Ooh, well, fortunately with the real estate investing, I'm obsessed with interior design. That's how I guess it kind of went hand in hand, like with, okay, the financial freedom you get from real estate investing, but also like, oh, this is my opportunity to design things. So I do love interior design. I love painting. I know this kind of sounds like cliche, but I love getting out in nature.
Okay.
I love it too. Totally
Like,
fine.
yeah, I know. And just like the simple things, like, going for a lunch with friends. Like it doesn't take much for me to feel fun or happy or what have you. So nothing too elaborate, but I have my little hobbies here and there. I used to crochet a lot, and then I crocheted so much that I had a wrist injury, so I had to stop.
You can get her doing anything.
I was going to like physio. Yeah, I was going to like physio and everything for it. And I was like, I think I need to stop doing this. Cause like, I literally had a cyst on my wrist that they were going to have to surgically remove, but it went away on its own. So
when you stop crocheting,
yeah.
there can be too much of a good thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
man.
and painting is new to me. It's kind of cool. Just a little random story, but was it last year? Yeah. Last year. So a year and a half ago, it was January of last year. I decided to pick up watercolor painting because a good friend of mine is a brilliant artist. And I was in a group of hers where we did painting and I had no aspirations to be like some prolific artist or anything, but I picked it up. And the cool thing with it was I remember sitting there being like, Emily, do it badly, which goes against, I feel like, most people's nature. We want to do things perfectly and give the A+ and all that kind of stuff. And I just sat there and was like, I want you to do it badly. Like, do a crappy job with this painting. And that permission to like be crappy at it, be bad at it, actually was the like entryway to actually getting good at art.
Mhm.
So I ended up like just binging YouTube videos and practicing a lot. And then I ended up actually painting my own oracle cards.
Cool.
And printed them this year. Yeah. So it kind of like, and I had people actually like commission me for some works, and I'm like, who am I? Like getting people reaching out to me, like saying, I want you to paint my house, or like, I'm like, what? Like,
How fun.
yeah.
See, the more fun you make, the more money you get. It's real.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it was, I felt like a complete newbie because like in terms of like money mindset. And I was like, this is so interesting because I had people approaching me. They're like, I want to pay you to, you know, paint a picture of our first home or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm not an artist, but I said to them, like, I would do it for free. And I said, but, like, just because I know money mindset and it's important to, you know, receive, I said, I'm just going to charge like $25. Like, like that was my starting point with that. And now I don't do a whole lot of commissions or anything like that, because I just kind of do it for fun. But yeah, it was so funny, like going right back to the beginning of like money mindset and business and all that kind of stuff, and being like, all right, I'm a beginner at this, but
Yeah.
it was fun, or it is fun.
But that's such a good life lesson in general. Like, let yourself be bad at it. You weren't the best foreman out there. You didn't know that you weren't supposed to pour the garage concrete in spring when it's still wet. But you still made money. And if you didn't make money, you probably would have made money on the next one because you would have learned so much on that first one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think if more people gave themselves permission to be bad, or like I literally have a sticky note up on my wall there. It says, give it the B- effort, which I'm a big advocate of. If we just give ourselves that permission to be like, this is my B- effort, and that's probably a lot of people's A+ effort, more people would be doing a lot more incredible things that light them up in the world.
I think so too. I was absolutely terrified to start this podcast. Caitlin can attest, like the first day that we were going to record, my energy was so off. I was like shaking, could hardly speak. And then of course I have technical issues. Oh yes.
Yeah. The universe gave her technical issues so she could get out of it.
Which it continued to give me, but guess what? We decided to fight through it and do it anyway. We were like, no, this cannot happen. Good. Oh yeah. I mean, I could hardly even tell people that we were going to do a podcast, but I knew it was important to tell people what I was doing and like let that become a lot more normal. And here we are today on, I don't know, episode 9 or something like that. And
amazing. And you're like a natural. Like you would never ever say that you had been nervous or scared or you know, whatever.
Thank you.
I knew she'd be good at it. That's why I forced her into it.
I trust Caitlin, whatever, forced me to do all the things, but no, it's good.
And sometimes you need that. Like sometimes you need that push of someone be like, you're doing it.
Like I'm just going to put my own trust aside because it's not there yet, but it will be there, and just trust in you for this moment. Yeah. And now here we are, and it's totally fine.
And we'll get there.
And I want to say one other thing too about being bad at stuff is this also goes for hobbies that are just going to be for fun, and that may turn into something else, like with you with watercoloring. I'm so bad at anything art related. And my friends, they love to paint too. So the other day we did that like paint your friends challenge that you see on Instagram and stuff. And I was complaining about it. I was like, I don't want to do this. This is stupid. I'm not good, whatever, all the things. And my painting turned out awful, but it was so much fun to just, and I'm like, I look back at that and, you know, my friend made a little reel of it. And I'm like, this was awesome. You don't, just like sitting there laughing the entire time, like just you don't have to be good at everything you do, and you're not going to be good at most things the first time you do it anyway, so just try.
That's so fun. I haven't done that challenge yet. I'll have to
highly
yeah, I had no idea what you were doing. I was like, why does she have so many plants on her table that you can barely like have room to like eat?
Yeah.
But you were trying to block each other.
We were trying to block each other. And actually my mom is moving, so she gave me a bunch of her plants for the cabin. So I just ironically had them sitting there. But yeah, then we like put up extra boxes and did kind of use them so that we couldn't see what the other, and it was fun with three of us too. So then I could still see one person's painting and like laugh along with that and not see the person who's painting me. But either way, great time.
Love it.
That's nice.
Yeah.
All right. I think one more question for you, Emily. If you had any advice, I mean, and maybe you've already shared the advice, but if you have any advice you'd have to give to yourself back when you were starting, is there anything that you would tell your younger self?
Oh, yes. Okay. So I'm kicking myself for not buying a property in Maui years ago. Well, actually, I should back, like when I was in high school, I remember our family was there for the first time. And we just for kind of fun looked at a couple of condos. And I mean, I didn't have the money in high school to invest then, but my dad was like, no, like we're not going to buy. And he is like greatly kicking himself now because the properties back then that were like, I don't know, 200,000 or 300,000 are now probably worth like $1 million or something like that. And you think like, I don't know, you just always think the price is too high in the moment. And then like a few years later, you're like, damn it, like now it's even higher. So like when I was in Maui, in 2019, I remember like looking at some stuff then and it was like 400,000 or 500,000 and be like, okay, a little bit of a stretch there. And now those properties are worth hundreds of thousands more. And I'm like, God damn it. And now you're kind of like bitter about it. You're like, well, now I definitely can't buy it because like I could have bought it before. So like the regret is holding you back from buying now. So yeah, I would say to my past self, like if you have that, like it's been a dream of mine to buy a home in a tropical destination because I'm in Canada and where I live is cold a lot of the time. So it's a dream of mine to have a vacation destination I can go to and stay at for free and then have other people pay for it when I'm not there. So I wish I had taken an opportunity in earlier years, but now as I'm saying it out loud, I'm like, well, the opportunity is still here right now. So
that was actually my next question. So you talked about having a short-term rental of your own. So is that going to be in Maui or are you looking at a different location now?
I think I might look at a different. So I always have my sights set on Maui. And then when I was there again this year. It's one of my family's like favorite places to go. But I don't know things. Now this is my own personal opinion, and maybe I'll get like some hate mail on this, but I don't know. But I felt that the energy was different in Maui, and I don't know if it was because I was there after the Lahaina fires, and there felt like this. I don't know this. Like they didn't want tourists there. And so I felt like, all right, I'm going to leave Maui be, like let them do their thing. And also it's really far from where I am. So it's not like I can just hop on a plane quickly and scoot down there. So, I'm thinking maybe somewhere like Costa Rica or Nicaragua, like somewhere I can just go like straight down south versus having to go all the way west. And because then if you just go straight down south and you don't have many time changes too, because that's the other thing with like a small kid, like Maui was 6.5 hours behind me. So like adjusting to that and then readjusting when you get back was like, okay, this is a bit of a nuisance. So let me find somewhere that's a little bit easier to travel to and not have to like all this jet lag and stuff.
That makes sense.
That's a good plan.
If you have any recommendations, I'm all ears.
I'm all for Costa Rica too.
Have you ever been?
I have. And I have big plans. My financial freedom goal is to live there for a year at least.
Yes. I fell in love when I went, like, I don't know, it might have been 2018 or 2017. And loved it so much.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Me too. Okay. Last thing, tell us how people can find you, how they can learn more about your work if they want to follow along.
Yeah, so the place where I hang out the most is Instagram, and my Instagram's emilyking.ca, and then my website is the exact same thing, emilyking.ca. And I've been showing up a little bit more on my Facebook page lately, which is also Emily King, facebook.com/emilyking.ca. So perfect. All the things are all the same. And if people want to go on my website, they can download some meditations that I have there. Like I think one there that's free is called the Next Level Meditation.
I've done that one. It's good.
Yeah, it's a good one that people love, the 5-minute miracle morning meditation. So these are just like meditations going back to kind of the belief system and being in the right headspace. Like they're meditations that are really easy, because I know some people get intimidated by meditations and like, oh God, I can't sit there and meditate, but they're really easy, really user friendly. So it just gives you that little pep in your step to start your day in the right mindset, and people love them. So people can go check them out there.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Emily. This was awesome. I think everybody's going to love hearing a little bit about this mindset piece that goes along with real estate investing and any business that you're working on. And I know the work that you do is so important. So thank you for sharing with us today.
Thanks for having me, and amazing podcast, guys. Keep it up.
Awesome. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
Thanks, friends. That's the episode for today. We so appreciate you being here with us, and would love if you could leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to podcasts.
And don't forget to subscribe for future episodes, and check the show notes to sign up for the waitlist for our retreats and future coaching programs. Stay rested, friends, and talk soon.